All right, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about shotgun from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive playbook. I prefer under center, but there are times when you do have to switch to shotgun just because the pass rush is so good, or maybe there's a certain run that you use that will pop a certain formation. Um, there's definitely value in going over the whole playbook. I'm not going to go over every single formation, but a few of the formations that I really like in shotgun. The first one being the gun tight Y off weak. Now, let me just kind of preface this by saying this is not the best gun Y tight off weak, and there's several playbooks that have the gun Y tight off weak and the gun tight Y off normal. I don't even know. It's so hard to say that fast, but it's basically this formation except the halfback is on the other side, right? And there's some actually really good plays in I think it's like Dolphins, Bengals, Seattle. If you look it up on I think let me see make sure I say this right huddle.gg, there's some really good plays in this formation. Now I want to first start off with a little bit of rant about this formation because it could be so much better. I'm really frustrated when I look at it because of a few things. So I'm just going to call it basic whatever. Let's call this. So the things that really are frustrating and don't make sense is that it has to do with the motions, right? I can't motion this receiver out wide to the left, which when I'm running a flood concept with the corner, if they're in a cover three and I'm on the wide side of the field, because remember, short side of the field, the corners get open with the streak and all. This won't get open against cover three, right? Because I can't push that. I can't have that vertical pull on the outside that's going to take that deep third away, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is the halfback. It says you can motion him to the left, but you can't. He doesn't go anywhere, right? So I can't create that bunch effect. If I motion him to the right, he goes all the way out wide. Kind of stupid, right? You can't motion this receiver over to the left, even though it says you can. Like I can put him on any kind of route, and he can't motion. So there's a lot of like this formation feels like it's locked in a sense. Yeah, I can motion this tight end over here, sure, but I feel like it's they've limited the formation in a sense, and it's pretty frustrating. That being said, that it still has some value. You know, it's not the greatest man beating formation. It does a fairly good job of beating zone. So let's go over first the man beating play, and that's going to be the play called bench switch. Now, just be aware that this is not the fastest developing man beating play. You have to put other routes out on the field. Your main route, I'll show you here in a second, and we're going to run this against nickel normal or nickel over in this game. Let's move the ball back just a tad. I'm going to give myself some space on the left side. You can run this flipped, obviously. If your quarterback's right-handed, you probably should run this flipped. Let's just go ahead and... Here's that blitz. Right? So the X route is the route that does a good job beating man coverage as well as the A route. Now, when you're labbing, and I just want to give you a piece of advice, when you're labbing, you should see this play and automatically be wary because every single route, with the exception of the halfback route, goes from right to left, or if you have it flipped, left to right. They all go to the same side of the field. So that's a bit of an issue, right? Now I can do something like this, but then there's just so much congestion in the middle of the field. It's really difficult to... Well, it's actually easier for your opponent to use it, right? All these things are at the same depth. It's just very, very easy to use her with a safety in the middle of the field. Now, ideally, I would want to be able to motion this out to the left, give him a little bit more space to move, but I can't, right? So my route concept probably would be is I need a route going deep. I want this guy going deep. So I'm just going to send him on a streak. If he beats his man, if there's no safety valve over the top, sometimes you take a shot, see how it goes. Tough. I do like keeping the halfback on his delay route unless they're sending like heavy pressure. In that case, you would max protect. But the other option to motion is the tight end. Like your tight end is probably the guy you're going to be motioning the most in this formation, which is not ideal. But I like to motion him to the right because when you motion him to the right, he's played by the safety, and the safety is off coverage. You have to manually go and move him, which it will take too long. You can quick snap and throw to the C route. So let's just go ahead and show you how this play progresses. And I'm going to spy these guys real quick. I just want to show you guys the route concepts. Let's C route. Beats press man. Let's go back and take a look at the instant replay. So I know I gave you a lot of setups right there in the beginning, but the route, your money route is the C route. And you can motion your tight end. Right, and he's actually on a pretty good crossing route. You don't have to leave him on that crossing route by any means. There's a lot of different things you can do when you're playing this type of coverage. If they shade underneath to get to this tight end, say you're running a curl or something, then this gets wide open. This will get wide open. But this route will, that's plenty of space. Plenty of space. And he even creates this kind of rub right here with the nickel corner, and you can snap throw to the slot. But you have to be careful because sometimes these guys will run into each other, and you won't get this smooth of a transition. It's just, I think it's some of the collision logic in this game is just not great. But this was actually pretty solid. So you got that route combination against man coverage. You can leave the halfback out. Let's just say, let's see what route combination we could do. But you could do something like, instead of putting Y on the streak, we could do something like this. You could do sort of like a clear out, that little Y route against man coverage will sometimes quickly win. It's not going to win on this situation because the leverage of the defensive backs on the outside. As soon as I say that, it probably will, but that would do. Then your halfback actually never went out. So therein lies the other problem, right? You can't rely on this halfback route to go out, so it's more of, I would say it's more of against two man under that this route's more effective. Now you can't just something like that, but the stock route that he's on. Let's just go to two man under real quick. I think I have it. I've covered one hole. Cover one hole is good enough. So let's go ahead and just run that, and then he breaks out, and then quick cut. So if you're playing some sort of like non-aggressive man coverage, that's a solid route. If you're waiting on that in an aggressive man coverage, yeah, you're putting yourself at risk. But like I said, the real weakness of this formation is that you can only utilize compression concepts, right? I can't really utilize spread concepts because I can't motion this guy out. The only guy I can motion out wide is this halfback to the right, or I can do, and I typically don't do this. Sometimes this kind of works, sometimes it doesn't, but then you're kind of like, all these routes are kind of in conflict with one another. Something like that. Then he cuts across the middle. Now that's not, wow, that was the worst throw I've ever seen. That's not always going to happen. Trust me, in the game, it doesn't always happen. It's something you can try, but I don't love it. I don't love all these routes being in the same area of the field. I'm only like, this B route is pretty much wasted. I'm not going to throw that route ever. You almost create a switch right there. But I'm telling you, because I've run this online, it doesn't always happen that way. It does not always happen this way. Now it's a nice look in practice mode, and definitely give it a shot, because maybe my receivers just aren't as good as yours. Give that route concept a shot, because now, sorry, I didn't mean to go out of there. Now we can attack the left flat. We can attack the middle of the field with the tight end, and then later the deeper area of the field. So maybe try it with your receivers. Maybe it's just my receivers; they're not great. But that's a solid play. That's a start with this formation to beating the most popular meta in Madden 23 right now, and that's man coverage.